Welcome back to the Making Sense of Money podcast, presented to you by P1FCU, where we tackle all the financial topics that matter the most to you. I'm your host, Tanis, and today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that I'm very passionate about, and that is small businesses. Joining me today, I have Brittin Fleshman, owner of Bee's Bakery. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to start today off just, kind of learning more about you outside of the fact that you make the most delicious treats. Tell me a little bit about how your journey with baking started. Where did you find your love for it?
So I grew up baking with my grandma, and we baked a lot from scratch. And I also had an easy bake oven as a child, which
heck yeah.
a lot of us did. But I baked so much with it that my mom stopped buying the pre-mixed packages from the store. And she ended up printing out recipes for me from the internet. And so I would bake from scratch in my Easy Bake Oven.
Wow.
And I think that that's a big part of where my love for scratch baking came from, was just knowing that I could take flour and sugar and butter and make something delicious and beautiful has been a big part of it.
Wow. Easy Bake Oven, huh?
Yeah, that's where it all started.
Jeez Louise. So you were out of your house for a while, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
And when did you decide to make it a career, from a hobby to a career?
So I graduated high school and I was going to school for teaching at LC. And I was taking a geology or geography class, and I hated it.
Oh my gosh.
And I had to have it in order to finish to get my teaching degree. And I learned from someone that I was working with that they went to a baking program in Spokane, and I was like, that's a thing, you can do that? I love baking, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so the plan was that I was going to go do that after I graduated. Well, I just I was not feeling it. I loved school, and I just was not loving what I was doing at school. And so I was like, you know what, my best friend lives in Coeur d'Alene, I'm just going to drop out. I'm going to move up there, live with them for a while, and go to Spokane. Why not? Let's just do it now.
Heck yeah.
And so I did. I moved up to Spokane, and I didn't do the whole program because part of it was stuff I wasn't really interested in, but I did the cake and cake decorating portion of it. So basically we learned how to frost a cake and then how to decorate it with different piping techniques, and also how to use fondant and things like that. And then we learned some baking tips for cake, but we didn't really learn how to make a recipe or anything like that. Mostly it was just decorating, but doing that made me realize that I love to decorate cakes, and that I loved all of those aspects of it. And so I started doing stuff on the side, and eventually it turned into I was taking orders all the time, and I had a job at Hot Shots, and I ended up leaving my job to pursue cakes full time. And so then I did it out of my house for a few years. Do you want me to keep going?
I mean, absolutely. It's exciting because it's looking at you now. Mm-hmm. I remember when I think I picked up cookies from you when you were outside or in your house, and you came and delivered it through your driveway. And now you can't even do those custom orders because you're just so boggled down with your macaroons, cookies, cupcakes, all those things. So it's just so cool to find out how that started, because you grew up.
Yeah, she evolved.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, I'm sure that a leap like that was scary. And financially, how did you kind of prepare yourself or get yourself on the right track?
So I really wasn't prepared financially at all. It was always the plan to open a storefront, but I'm a very safe and comfortable kind of person, and I was very safe and comfortable just doing it out of my house. But I started to realize that financially I wasn't making money. I wasn't supporting my family the way that I wanted to be supporting my family, and it just was more of a burden because I was working crazy hours, and there just wasn't a lot of return from making cakes out of my house. Which you would think that there would be because there's not a lot of overhead, but it was just expensive. And so I went to the 100 Women Confluence, and I had attended their conferences a few times, and I decided that I was going to apply to present there. And this was in October of 2022. And I actually didn't get chosen to present in October, but I was chosen to present in April the next year. And then like the next month, one of the ladies who's on the board messaged me and was like, hey, are you possibly looking for a storefront? Because my spot just opened up, and I had looked at her space like in the past, and I was like, you know what, I'll come look at it. And so I did, and then I sat down with my husband and I was like, I think I want to do this. Like, I think I'm just ready to do this, because it's either I do this or I'm going to go get a job.
Right.
Like, I can't keep trying to make it work when it's just not anymore. And so we actually went to the bank and tried to figure out, like, financially what would be the best way for us to get a loan. We actually ended up taking a HELOC out on our house in order to come up with the money to start the bakery, which really ended up benefiting us in the long run, because we ended up selling our house last year and the loan is gone. So that was honestly great. And the bakery just paid on that loan until we sold our house. So financially, it wasn't really a burden on us. And we got everything that we needed, and the rest is history.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You've made a couple big investment decisions, and I mean, with purchasing your own home, that's a huge thing in itself, but being able to kind of merge the two, that's pretty neat. Also nice for you to probably keep it separate. Like, I can only imagine, like, because you're a new mom, right? So being a new mom and trying to run a business out of your home, I can only imagine how overstimulating that could be.
Yeah, it was overstimulating before I had my baby, and I can't imagine what it would be like now, because I feel like just your house being like not like in shambles in general at any time being a mom is overstimulating. So I can't imagine trying to run my business out of my home as well, because it was just overwhelming not having any kids around. And it just kind of consumes your whole life when it's in your home. And I really needed that separation. I needed to be able to go to work and then go home and not have the two combined anymore, because it was just like mentally draining on me all the time.
Yeah, I could only imagine.
Yeah, and some
flour everywhere.
Yeah, and some people thrive like working from home or having their business at home, but I was not one of those people.
Yeah, no, I you either are or you aren't. That's for sure. We kind of chatted about this a little bit, but I'm sure you've heard a lot of different pieces of advice for some of the aspiring business owners out there. Do you have any that you'd like to share, just, you know, in case someone is looking for that?
I was recently given some advice when it came to like trying to make sure that the bakery has income, and because there's such like there's ups and downs with any business, but for my business, when the economy is not doing very well, then we don't do very well, because we are an extra. We're not an everyday, like, go buy a treat type of place, because that's not where people are going to spend their money if they don't have a lot of money. And so recently I was told that I need to find ways of income that are not relying on people just coming in every day, and ways of income that will continue to flow even when the economy is not doing super great, or people don't have a lot of money and they don't want to come spend their extra money at the bakery.
Right.
And so we're actually going to get into wholesaling and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm also really hoping to kind of incorporate custom orders back in again and potentially start doing cakes again.
Where it started for you.
Yeah. That's always been the plan. It just never happened. I just need extra help, but you need income in order to have more extra help. And so it's just kind of been like I couldn't do it because I didn't have extra help type of situation. Yeah. So the goal is that hopefully wholesaling will bring in some income so that we have steady income, and then I can kind of bring back in some other stuff.
For sure. It's like you're being like tethered into all the directions where everything that you want to do, it's like, well, you know, you have to pay for those things. So,
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, it seems like that's common sense, but
yeah.
Obviously running a bakery isn't just baking. There's a lot that goes into that. You have a small team, right? But you're still having to deal with payroll and management and all of that good stuff. So how do you keep everything smooth running behind the scenes?
I would love to say that it's smooth, but it is not. I am kind of a control freak, and so I really haven't let go of anything yet. It's a lot and it's hard, and you kind of just have to categorize everything and decide when to do it. I get really behind on my QuickBooks, but then I get it figured out at a later date, and you just do what you can. I definitely think if I have any advice for other business owners or aspiring business owners, it would be to delegate. Don't be like me. Because I really struggle with that, and it's not always smooth, but I mean, I figure it out as I go. I definitely could be better at responding to emails and all the things, but I know that about myself, and I feel like that is the first step to being better at it, is knowing that I could be better at it.
For sure. And also give yourself some grace too, because I mean, you're one single person and you have your small team, but it's also your business. And I think that there's something special with not wanting to, you just don't want anything to happen. And I would feel the same way if I was in your shoes, just making sure, like you said, controlling, but like just having the control, making sure that everything's okay. I feel like that's not a bad thing, but you're right. You could probably lighten the load a little, I'm sure. You're a busy gal.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Social media, huge in today's world and for our businesses, local businesses and small businesses. Has that been a recipe for success for you?
Yeah, social media was actually a very big part of when I was at home. I made videos of me decorating my cakes and posted them, and my social media grew a lot while I was at home and doing that. Social media is just very time consuming, so I would also love to get back into doing more of that. Obviously, that's a lot. But social media, I think, is important for really any business. I think that it reminds people that you're there without you really having to pay anything. Like it's free. You can literally just post on social media, and it's free advertising. Yeah, you can pay for social media advertising, but it is a free way for you to grow your business, and I think it's an organic way to grow your business, and I think it's extremely important.
For sure.
I think it's important for us. I mean, I post our menu every week, and I think that gets people in every single week and gets them excited, and
totally.
I definitely think it's an extremely important part of any business.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm always looking at those posts in your menus. I'm like, dang, not a good time to be on a diet when you're posting stuff.
It's never a good time to be on a diet.
How about your goals for 2025 for Bees Bakery? What are some of your goals?
Wholesaling. We are getting into that. I've been working very diligently, trying to get all of that done. It's a whole other ball game of paperwork, apparently, that I didn't realize. Things you learn as you keep going. We actually just recently got our food permit as well, which allows us to do basically whatever we want. So we just added pizza rolls to our menu.
Saw that again. Terrible time to be on a diet.
And they've been doing really, really well. And we also just added cheesecake cups, which is something that we couldn't do before. And those are really good, and they're doing really well as well. But basically, with a food permit, we can do anything that like has to be refrigerated. So we have a lot more opportunity to expand our menu, which is really cool. Other goals that I have are basically to delegate more and to try and grow our team so that I have more help and it's not just me and like two other people trying to do everything.
Especially now being a mom, that changes things. Yeah. Changes the game big time.
Yeah, it definitely does.
What would you say is your proudest financial win since opening Bees Bakery?
I want to say that it's when we first opened. For the first few months, we were only open on Saturdays, and we would bake like over 1,000 treats for just Saturday every week, and we would sell out within the first like 2 or 3 hours. Like people would line up down the street, and then we would sell out like super fast. It was really cool. It doesn't happen like that anymore. We are just a normal bakery now, but it was really cool. It really made me excited to know that the Valley was so excited for us to have a storefront. And I mean, obviously it has slowed down. It's not that crazy anymore, but it is still, I feel like, the biggest financial win for the fact that it made us not only feel good, but it did help financially in the beginning when we first opened, because there was obviously a lot of financial risk that we took, and that was a really good way for us to, get a good boost in the beginning.
Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. And I mean, honestly, I would say a win for you too is you have no debt. I mean, with your home and that investment, that's also huge.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people set themselves up like that. And so that's great that you did that.
Well, and I mean, obviously I didn't really save much before. I mean, I had a little bit in savings that I don't even think that we touched, because I was like, we'll just leave that there and we'll just use this money. And I feel like now looking at things, like it has set us up for success in the fact that like I do get overwhelmed like when we're slow or like we don't have as great of a week or whatever, but it's also like I don't feel extremely overwhelmed in the fact that we're in a load of debt with the bakery and then we have a bad week, because that would put us in a really uncomfy situation. So
for sure,
I definitely think that taking out the HELOC was literally the best thing that we could have done. And it was like such a big risk. I mean, we literally put our house on the line, and took from equity in our home, which is scary, but I honestly think it was the safest route for us to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Well, I have one more question for you, and it's a question we ask all of our guests, and that is, what is one thing you wish you would have known about money earlier in life?
I think that I wish that I knew to invest earlier in life, because I'm still in like a weird, like I'm a business owner and I don't have a retirement. And I think that I'm in such an awkward, like I need to do it, but like I don't know really where to start. But also like I have the resources to be able to do it, but I should have done it younger. But I think also like it's important to lean into the resources that you have and to push yourself to do the hard things, because I feel like I have some weird fear behind it. And so I think my biggest thing is like make sure that you're investing in yourself. I think that investing in my business has been a good thing for me at a young age, but I do think like just all around invest in money, retirement, yourself, your business.
Great. Yeah, that's good stuff. You've given a lot for our viewers who are aspiring to be business owners like yourself, a lot to think about. So thank you so much for sharing all of that and spending time with me today.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you to everybody for tuning in. We hope you learned something new today and feel one step closer to making sense of money. Don't forget to subscribe and check out our newsletter at p1fcu.org. We'll see you next time.